Welcome to Miss Scarlett. Subscribe and don't miss out on Patreon. Have fun! In the quiet stillness of the room, Evan's focus was drawn to the graceful movement of silk, its whisper a delight to the senses. His wife, a vision in crimson, spun with playful elegance, the fabric dancing in harmony with her every turn. He found himself entranced, not merely by her charm, but by the garment's mysterious allure. As she caught his admiring glance in the mirror's reflection, she playfully inquired, "Do you approve?" Her playful tone teased him out of his reverie. Evan, feeling the warmth rise to his cheeks, whispered, "Enchanting," his gaze spellbound by the intricate folds of the silk. She approached him, a subtle yet mischievous smile on her lips, offering a playful confession. "I've seen you admire my wardrobe, observing as your fingers softly trail on the fabric when you believe I'm not looking." Had he been so transparent? "Have you ever wondered what it would feel like?" she asked, gently, taking a step towards him. Evan swallowed hard, unable to find his voice. She reached out, taking his hand in hers. "It's okay," she whispered. "If you want to try it on, I won't judge you." Time seemed to stand still as Evan wrestled with the desire he'd kept buried for so long. Finally, he gave a small nod.
"Okay,"
he breathed. With infinite tenderness, she helped him remove his shirt. Evan closed his eyes as the cool silk slipped over his skin, enveloping him in its luxurious embrace. When he opened them again, he found himself face to face with his reflection. The person staring back at him was both familiar and foreign. The red blouse clung to his frame in a way that was undeniably feminine, accentuating curves he'd never noticed before. For the first time in his life, Evan felt truly seen. "How does it feel?" his wife asked softly. "Like
"Me,"
Evan whispered, tears pricking at the corners of his eyes. She wrapped her arms around him from behind, resting her chin on his shoulder. "Then maybe it's time we helped you find more pieces that feel like you." In the days that followed, Evan's wife became his guide and confidant as they embarked on a journey of self-discovery together. They started small, with classic pieces that could easily be incorporated into his existing wardrobe. A black pencil skirt became his new favorite, paired with crisp button-down shirts for a look that straddled the line between masculine and feminine. As Evan's confidence grew, so did his willingness to experiment. Flowing blouses in jewel tones replaced his usual t-shirts, and he found himself gravitating towards delicate jewelry that added a touch of sparkle to every outfit. With each new addition to his closet, Evan felt more and more like the person he was always meant to be. It was during one of their shopping excursions that Evan first heard the name that would become his own. "What do you think of this one, Alani?" his wife called out, holding up a vintage-inspired dress with a sweetheart neckline. Evan froze, the unfamiliar name sending a shiver down his spine. "Alani?" She smiled sheepishly. "I hope you don't mind. I've been trying out names in my head, and that one just felt right. It means orange blossom in Hawaiian. I thought it suited you, delicate and beautiful, but with a hint of citrusy strength." Tears welled up in Evan's eyes as he rolled the name around in his mind. Alani. It felt like coming home. "I love it," he whispered, pulling his wife into a tight embrace. From that moment on, Evan began the transition to Alani in earnest. She started hormone therapy under the careful supervision of a doctor, watching in awe as her body slowly began to align with her true self. The changes were subtle at first. Softer skin, a slight redistribution of fat, but each new development filled her with joy. As her body changed, so did her wardrobe. Alani discovered a love for vintage-inspired fashion, favoring fit and flare dresses that cinched at the waist and flowed gracefully to her knees. She became an expert at coordinating accessories, never leaving the house without a carefully chosen handbag and a pair of elegant pumps. Her wife was there every step of the way, offering support and encouragement as Alani navigated the complexities of her transition. Together, they tackled the practical aspects, like legally changing her name and updating her identification documents, as well as the emotional challenges that came with living authentically in a world that wasn't always understanding. One particularly memorable day found Alani standing before her mirror, putting the finishing touches on her outfit for an important work presentation. She smoothed her hands over the deep brown fabric of her dress, admiring the way it complemented her chestnut hair, which had grown long enough to style into soft waves. "You look stunning," her wife said, appearing in the doorway. "Are you nervous?" Alani took a deep breath, considering the question. This would be her first major presentation since coming out at work. While her colleagues had been largely supportive, she couldn't help but feel a flutter of anxiety in her stomach. "A little," she admitted. "But mostly, I'm excited. For the first time, I feel like I'm presenting as my true self. It's liberating." Her wife crossed the room, wrapping her in a warm embrace. "I'm so proud of you, Alani. You've come so far." As they pulled apart, Alani caught sight of their reflection in the mirror. The woman staring back at her exuded a quiet confidence that would have been unimaginable just a few short months ago. Her brown eyes sparkled with life, no longer dulled by the weight of a secret kept for far too long. "I couldn't have done it without you," Alani said softly, squeezing her wife's hand. With one last glance in the mirror, Alani grabbed her leather portfolio and headed out the door, ready to face the world as her authentic self. The presentation was a resounding success. Alani's confidence shone through as she articulated her ideas with clarity and passion. Her colleagues were impressed not only by her professional expertise, but also by the palpable sense of ease she now possessed. As she packed up her materials after the meeting, her boss approached with a warm smile.
"Excellent work, Alani,"
he said.
"I have to say, you seem to have really come into your own lately. It's been wonderful to see."
Alani felt a surge of pride.
"Thank you, sir. I feel like I've finally found my place, both personally and professionally."
He nodded approvingly.
"It shows. In fact, I was wondering if you'd be interested in taking on a bigger role in the company. We have a new project coming up that I think would be perfect for you to lead."
Alani's eyes widened in surprise and excitement. "I'd be honored," she said, her voice filled with genuine gratitude. As she left the office that evening, Alani felt as though she was walking on air. She couldn't wait to share the news with her wife. The future stretched out before her, full of possibilities she had never dared to imagine before. Weeks turned into months, and Alani continued to blossom in every aspect of her life. Her wardrobe expanded to include an array of beautiful dresses, each one carefully chosen to reflect her growing sense of style. She developed a particular fondness for floral prints, feeling a connection to the name her wife had given her. One sunny Saturday afternoon, Alani and her wife decided to have a picnic in the park. Alani donned a breezy brown sundress, adorned with delicate white flowers, pairing it with comfortable sandals and a wide-brimmed hat to shield her face from the sun. As they spread out their blanket beneath a shady tree, Alani caught sight of a young girl watching her with undisguised curiosity. The child's mother noticed and began to usher her away, but Alani offered a friendly wave. "It's okay," she called out. "I don't mind." The girl approached shyly, her mother hovering protectively nearby. "I like your dress," she said, her eyes wide with admiration. "You look like a princess." Alani's heart swelled with emotion. "Thank you," she replied. "That's very kind of you to say." The girl's mother relaxed visibly, offering Alani an apologetic smile. "I'm sorry if she's bothering you. She's always been fascinated by pretty dresses." "Not at all," Alani assured her. "I remember feeling the same way when I was her age." As the girl and her mother continued on their way, Alani's wife gave her hand a gentle squeeze. "You handled that beautifully," she said. Alani smiled, a sense of peace washing over her. It feels good to be able to inspire that kind of joy in others. For so long, I was afraid of drawing attention to myself. Now I feel like I can embrace it. Their picnic was filled with laughter and easy conversation, the warmth of the sun matching the glow of contentment Alani felt inside. As they packed up to leave, she caught sight of her reflection in a nearby pond. The woman looking back at her was radiant, her brown hair shimmering in the late afternoon light. "What are you thinking?" her wife asked, noticing Alani's contemplative expression. Alani turned to her, eyes shining with unshed tears of happiness. "I'm thinking about how far we've come, how grateful I am for your love and support, and how excited I am for whatever comes next." Her wife pulled her close, pressing a soft kiss to her forehead. "Whatever it is, we'll face it together." As they walked hand in hand through the park, Alani felt a profound sense of rightness. The journey hadn't always been easy, but every step had led her to this moment, living authentically, surrounded by love, and finally at peace with herself. The following week brought a new challenge for Alani. Her company was hosting a formal gala to celebrate the launch of their latest project, and as the team leader, she was expected to attend and give a short speech. It would be her first time attending such a high-profile event since her transition, and she wanted everything to be perfect. Alani spent hours searching for the ideal dress, finally settling on a floor-length brown gown with delicate beading that sparkled when she moved. The color complemented her hair beautifully, and the cut accentuated her figure in a way that made her feel both elegant and confident. As she stood before the mirror on the night of the gala, putting the finishing touches on her makeup, Alani felt a familiar flutter of nerves in her stomach. Her wife appeared behind her, looking stunning in a sleek black dress. "You look absolutely breathtaking," she said, wrapping her arms around Alani's waist. Alani leaned back into the embrace, drawing strength from her partner's unwavering support. "Thank you. I just hope I can do this dress justice." "You already have," her wife assured her. "But it's not about the dress. It's about the amazing woman wearing it. The brilliant, kind, courageous woman I fall in love with more every day." Tears threatened to ruin Alani's carefully applied mascara, but she blinked them back, turning to face her wife. "How did I get so lucky?" "I ask myself the same thing," her wife replied with a soft smile. They shared a tender kiss before heading out into the night, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, together. The gala was a whirlwind of glittering lights, flowing champagne, and animated conversation. Alani moved through the crowd with grace, her brown gown swirling around her legs as she greeted colleagues and clients alike. She was pleased to note that the majority of people seemed to focus on her professional accomplishments rather than her appearance or personal life. As the time for her speech approached, Alani took a moment to collect herself in a quiet corner of the ballroom. She closed her eyes, taking deep breaths to calm her racing heart. When she opened them again, she found her boss standing nearby, a look of concern on his face.
"Everything all right, Alani?"
he asked. She nodded, straightening her posture. "Just a little nervous," she admitted. He smiled warmly.
"You have nothing to be nervous about. You've done an incredible job with this project, and everyone here knows it. Just be yourself up there. That's more than enough."
His words bolstered her confidence, reminding her of how far she'd come. With a grateful smile, Alani made her way to the podium as her name was announced. Looking out over the sea of expectant faces, Alani took a deep breath and began to speak. Her voice, once a source of discomfort, now rang out clear and strong as she detailed the successes of their latest venture. As she spoke, she felt a surge of pride, not just in the work she'd done, but in the person she'd become. When she finished, the room erupted in applause. Alani caught her wife's eye in the crowd, seeing her own joy and pride reflected back at her. In that moment, she knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, she had the strength to face them head-on. The rest of the evening passed in a blur of congratulations and well-wishes. As the night wound down, Alani found herself on the balcony, taking a moment to herself amidst the fading sounds of the party. She gazed out at the twinkling city lights, marveling at how much her life had changed in such a relatively short time. From the scared, conflicted person she'd been to the confident woman she was now, it seemed almost like a dream. The soft click of heels on tile announced her wife's approach. "There you are," she said softly, coming to stand beside Alani. "I've been looking for you." Alani turned to her with a smile. "Just needed a moment to take it all in," she explained. "Sometimes I can hardly believe this is real." Her wife reached out, taking Alani's hand in hers. "It's real," she assured her. "You've worked so hard to get here, Alani. You deserve every bit of happiness and success." Alani squeezed her hand, overwhelmed with gratitude. "I couldn't have done it without you," she said. "Your love gave me the courage to be myself." They stood in comfortable silence for a few moments, enjoying the cool night air and each other's company. Finally, Alani's wife spoke again. "So, what's next for you?" she asked. "The sky's the limit now." Alani considered the question, a slow smile spreading across her face. "I think I'd like to find a way to help others who are on the same journey I was. To be for them what you were for me, a source of support and understanding." Her wife nodded approvingly. "I think that's a wonderful idea. You have so much to offer, Alani. Your experience could make a real difference in people's lives." As they made their way back inside to say their goodbyes, Alani felt a renewed sense of purpose. She had found her true self, and now she had the opportunity to help others do the same. It was a future full of promise and possibility, and she couldn't wait to see where it would lead. In the weeks that followed, Alani threw herself into researching ways she could support others in the transgender community. She reached out to local organizations, offering her time and expertise. Her experiences in the corporate world proved invaluable as she helped develop mentorship programs and job placement initiatives. One particularly rewarding project involved working with a group of transgender individuals who were preparing for job interviews. Alani drew on her own experiences to offer advice on professional attire and presentation, helping each person find a style that made them feel both comfortable and confident. As she stood before the group in a tailored brown blazer and matching pencil skirt, Alani felt a profound sense of coming full circle. She remembered her own early days of exploring feminine clothing, the mix of excitement and trepidation she had felt. Now, she was able to offer guidance and reassurance to others facing similar challenges. "Remember," she told the group, her voice warm and encouraging, "the most important thing is to be true to yourself. Your clothing should be an expression of who you are, not a costume you're putting on for others." After the workshop, a young transgender woman approached Alani, her eyes shining with gratitude. "Thank you so much," she said. "I've been so scared about interviewing, but you've given me hope. Seeing you, how successful and confident you are, it makes me believe I can do it too." Alani felt a lump form in her throat. "You absolutely can," she assured the young woman. "It won't always be easy, but I promise you, it's worth it to live as your authentic self." As she made her way home that evening, Alani's heart felt full to bursting. She had found not just acceptance, but a true sense of purpose. Her journey had led her to a place where she could make a real difference in the lives of others. Entering the house, she was greeted by the delicious aroma of her wife's cooking. "How was your day?" her wife called from the kitchen. Alani smiled, hanging up her blazer and kicking off her heels. "It was amazing," she replied, padding into the kitchen in her stocking feet. "I feel like I'm exactly where I'm meant to be." Her wife turned from the stove, a knowing smile on her face. "I can see it," she said. "You're glowing." Alani wrapped her arms around her wife's waist, placing a soft kiss on her cheek. "Thank you," she murmured, "for everything. For loving me, for supporting me, for encouraging me to be myself." "Always," her wife replied, turning in her embrace to face her. "I'm so proud of you, Alani. You've come so far, and you're doing such important work." As they stood there in the warmth of their kitchen, Alani felt a profound sense of peace wash over her. She had found her true self, her purpose, and a love that sustained her through it all. Whatever challenges the future might hold, she knew she had the strength to face them, not just for herself, but for all those who were still finding their way. The brown dress hanging in her closet was more than just a beautiful garment now. It was a symbol of her journey, of the woman she had become. And as she looked forward to the road ahead, Alani knew that the best was yet to come.
Thanks for watching, my girlies. Be sure to check out Patreon for more.